The opinions expressed on this radio station, its programs, and its website by the hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of Revolution Radio and FreedomSlips.com, its staff, or affiliates. You're listening to Revolution Radio, FreedomSlips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this Friday, the 17th of February, live broadcast of The Revelation Show here on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. With me, your host, Paul Stevenson. I'll be through with you live till 9 p.m. UK. That is 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And I have GERALD CELENTE coming up, I'm delighted to say. And GERALD is the director, for those who need an introduction, is the director of the Trends Research Institute, and author of the Trend Tracking and publisher of Trends, the Trends Journal, and is widely considered to be the top trends forecaster in the world. He used to run political campaigns in Westchester County in New York, and he was the assistant to the secretary of the New York State Senate, as well as teaching American politics and campaign technology at St. John's University. I could go on. He's also a regular guest on various alternative media and mainstream media networks as well. GERALD, are you with me?
I'm with you, Paul.
How are you, sir?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
You know what, GERALD? I'm just a bit depressed, to be honest with I don't know. What do you want to talk about? Should we talk about fake news, fake economics, fake politicians, a fake culture, or fake threats and fake enemies, or there are great fake, allies and friends out in the Middle East there,
It's one of the trademarks that we took out last year is the presidential reality show. We own that trademark. And that's all this is. It's a reality show, man.
It's like the WWF. It's like Thunderlips. It's all fake, meatball.
And it has been. It's just a different act. And I mean, Obama talked like this and really was very straight as he looked at the teleprompter and just kept feeding us one line of BS after another. A little arrogant guy. Oh, and I could say that now, and I'm not being, racist when I call this guy out. The guy that played the line of being the anti-war president, who murdered over 4,000 innocent people with drone strikes, started a Libyan war, destroyed the most prosperous nation in Africa. A sword has to go, you little piece of crap that couldn't fight your way out of a paper bag and send other people to do your dirty work. Oh, you mean that presidential reality show freak? Well, how about the one before him? Little Georgie Bush. This clown couldn't speak an entire sentence without stumbling. And now we got a real reality show champion, the Apprentice champion. It's a freak show, and everybody's afraid to call a spade because they love their spade. Whether it was Hillary Clinton, Samantha Power, Susan Rice, Madeleine Albright, if only the women's were in charge. I'm tired of the race card, I'm tired of the gender card, and I'm tired of the creed card. You could take that card and shove it, because that's what's going on, man. They're shoving it to us, and all the little Americans are bowing down and taking it with their phony little protests. Oh, all those women out there protesting. Hey, where were you when we launched OccupyPeace.us up here in Colonial Kingston, where I put my money where my mouth was and brought in Ralph Nader, Cindy Sheehan, Dr. Robert Thurman, and Gary Null? Where were you women? Oh, no, we like Hillary because she's a woman and she could slaughter people, and that's okay. Oh, you like that video of Hillary Clinton on CBS News? Google it up on YouTube. Miss Clinton, as Secretary of State Clinton, how did you feel when you found out that Muammar Gaddafi was killed. Killed? You mean sodomized with knives? And she goes like this. She straightens herself up and says, "We came, we saw, he died."
Oh yeah, she's the woman's a proper just a proper demon. And then we get rid of her, and then we get, what if we go with, we've got Trump talking about non-interventionalism and all the rest of it, and less than 2 weeks in, we have this moron Flynn, who's now retired again, or is he's gone, isn't he? I've never heard as much bullshit in one sentence in all my life, and all of a sudden appealing to the UN and the resolution 2231. They're not too interested in the UN resolutions when it's Israel, and they're vetoing them all the time. I've literally never heard as much shit in one statement. Highly provocative, is a destabilizing factor in the region. This stuff. It's just. So.
Well, you listen to Trump's presidential reality show appearance yesterday on the they call it a press conference.
Yeah.
We've imposed new sanctions on the nation of Iran, who has totally taken advantage of our previous administration, and they are the world's top sponsor of terrorism.
Yeah.
Top sponsor of terrorism? Oh, yeah. Yeah, they invaded. Didn't they destroy Libya? No. They're the ones that destroyed Iraq. No. Oh, I got that one mixed up too. Because you could see that other little piece of crap of nothing, another little guy with cojones smaller than a mothball, Donald Rumsfeld, the previous clown under the Bush administration, when bringing Saddam Hussein back in 1980, golden spurs, as the United States launched the Iraq War against Iran. So I got the Iraqs mixed up. I forgot the other phony Iraq one later on, that Saddam Hussein has weapons of mass destruction and ties to Al-Qaeda. No, I know. Iran, that terrorist organization, they're occupying Afghanistan. Oh, between Afghanistan, Libya, and Iraq, they killed over 1 million people. No, that's the Americans, isn't it? And of course, they invaded Afghanistan, because there's a man by the name of Osama bin Laden over there. Oh, yeah, no, he was in Pakistan. That's all right. We're still going to bomb the joint and destroy it. The hypocrisy coming out of the Trump campaign is no different than the Obama, the Bush, and the Clintons. They're sick people that are in charge, and no one wants to call a spade a spade. Oh, and I can say that now, and all the little clowns out there, all these little cowardly liberals who never supported us for OccupyPeace.us, they can't call me racist anymore now that Obama's not in the presidency.
Yeah, because they're all hypocrites, as you say. Unfortunately, despite some enthusiasm on my own part with Trump, and I know others feel the same way, people are disgusted. Less than 2 weeks in, we have this rhetoric against Iran and that little asshole over in Israel, calling for a united front against Iran. Iran hasn't started a war, I think, since about 1770 or something, You
got it. So it's 200 years. And the other thing, you got it, because the quote that I read to you about Trump, about Iran, quote, being the world's top sponsor of terrorism, end quote, is playing into what you said about Netanyahu. Here the Israelis are stealing over I love the word they call it, settlements. Like they're going over the desert in open caravans. Happy trails to you. It's a real estate deal. You're building condominiums. You're stealing people's land, and it's in violation of international law. Any other country that violates international law, it's bombs away. And all you people out there, and that's the other one. I'm tired of the chosen people. I don't want to hear another word about it, because I'll tell you a fact, Paul. It's the Italians that are the chosen people, not the Jews. I got the proof. Let's start with the food. Well, they got matzo balls. We got meatballs. What do they have? Oh, bagels and lox. Oh, we could go on with the food. Oh, let's go to the wine. What do you got, Mogen David and Manischewitz? We'll stop at the wine. Oh, yeah, I know you got Bette Midler and Barbara Streisand. Hey, how about Gina Lollobrigida and Sophia Loren? I don't want to. I'm only being sarcastic. I'm tired of this crap, and I'm tired of hearing that God is a real estate agent and the Bible is a land deed. Save it for someone else.
Yeah, well,
they passed a new law whereby they could expropriate any Palestinian land that they want.
Yeah, didn't hear much about that in Western media. I didn't hear the big condemnation coming from Fox News on that one. I mean, it's kind of trickled down now, but I mean, I don't think there was any coverage of it in Western media, was there?
Very, very little. And they use little lines like, President Trump said to Netanyahu, can you slow down on this a little bit with the settlements? Stop this settlement crap. These are real estate developments. It's against international law. And again, I'm tired of hearing that the world began when Judaism was created. I think they just found a skull from a hobbit that goes back 700,000 years ago. You think other people occupy that land?
Yeah, I mean, it's absolute nonsense. And the Bible doesn't say anything about it either. And as you well know, we're talking about, when we're on the topic of fake, we're talking about fake Jews here. These guys aren't even the Jews and the Semites in the Old Testament anyway.
You got it. They're Ashkenazi Jews from Eastern Europe that didn't convert to Judaism until about 700, 800 AD.
That's right. And they just took...
So don't call me, and that's the other thing, don't call me an anti-Semite. My last 3 girlfriends were Jewish, so I don't want to hear it anymore.
Yeah, these people are just scumbags. This is an article, witnesses told... This is just before that, when the news broke about the land theft, Israel conducted airstrikes in the Palestinian Gaza Strip, injuring at least 2 Palestinians. Witnesses told main news agency that at least, wait for it, 8 Israeli missiles were fired at several locations across the besieged Palestinian territory, and Israel said it was responding to a rock thrown from the Strip that landed in open space. Not a rocket, a rock that never hurt anybody. 8 missiles. Well, I suppose, if you got all that weaponry, you got to use it somehow,
Again, and here in America... what did Obama just do? A $38 billion missile arms deal with them? We're giving our money to these murderers like it's and they're not a third world nation over there. Look, I have to tell you, Paul, I cannot tell you how many subscribers we've lost and how much hate mail we get because I keep calling them out. And again, I'm tired of these phony little Bible stories. Keep them for yourself. I know Mary was a virgin. Moses came down with 10 commandments and Buddha was born on a lotus blossom. Great. I don't care about your stories. I want to look at the facts, and the facts are these. The bottom line is that Israel was created by the English with the power of the Rothschilds, with the Balfour Agreement, and that crazy guy Herzl from Pest, which is now Budapest, Hungary, the Zionist movement, as they were colonizing most of Africa and the Middle East.
That's right. That's exactly factually correct. I'm sick and tired of these Israeli apologists as well, who are not interested in reality. They're interested in their own, just living in their own false reality. Some of the stuff these guys come up with. So, I don't know where have you heard this one? Oh, the Palestinians never were a people. There never was a Palestine. I mean, what drugs are these people on?
Well, that was Golda Meir. Again, another Ashkenazi Jew, as are Ben-Gurion, Golda Meir, Sharon, every one of them, to the Netanyahu now. Oh, remember that lovely little cartoon bomb that Netanyahu drew about 3 or 4 years ago at the UN? And it was a time bomb, and with a fuse on it, and it was Iran's nuclear bomb that was ready to explode. They let a little clown like this get away with this stuff because the whole prostitute media, all of America, is sold out, as is much of the world. Having said that, however, there's dramatic change taking place. Before I go to the dramatic change, I want to go back to Iran and what you said about how Netanyahu also keeps coming out against Iran. I mentioned what Trump said at his so-called press conference yesterday, that Iran was the world's top sponsor of terrorism. The day before, he met with Netanyahu. So here's how the Trends Research Institute, the Trends Journal, and GERALD CELENTE are forecasting this. Israel's going to start something with Iran. They're going to blame Iran for starting it. America is going to become involved in the fight against Iran. And again, talking about Iran, what people don't remember, all you little stupid jerks out there, is how the United States and the UK overthrew the democratically elected government of Mossadegh in Iran in 1953, because he had the nerve to nationalize the oil. The oil fields were owned by two companies back then. One was called Standard Oil, better known today as ExxonMobil, and the other one, Anglo-Iranian Oil, better known as BP. So the MI6 out of the UK and the CIA overthrew the democratically elected government and installed this brutal dictatorship, the Shah. They plunked him out of southern France and put him in there. This guy, people forget the Savak, the secret police. They made the SS look like almost good guys.
Yeah, isn't it all that so ironic, you know? Yet I mean, even this whole crap coming out from Mad Dog Mattis again. I mean, what is this, the WWF? You know, and all this stuff about, you know, oh, they threatened Saudi Arabia. That same Saudi Arabia that apparently U.S. citizens can sue for 9/11. I mean, this is a circus act. I mean, I can't believe they're still churning out this crap, you know?
Well, go back to Saudi Arabia and go back to Trump's stupid thing about this travel ban. By the way, I'm in favor of stopping immigration totally.
Me too.
Until we bring our country back to a middle-class lifestyle, we don't need new people here. That's what they did during the Great Depression. Not about any nationality, just nobody else. We got enough. We can't take care of our own. When we can take care of our own, we'll bring in more.
Same in Europe.
If you want to bring in more, open your house up and bring them in. You feed them, you take care of them, you school them. Don't tell me to do what you want to do. I wasn't put on this earth to follow your orders. So going back to the whole cycle of what's going on and what you were talking about, this is much, much bigger. And it's a collapse of a global economy that's waiting to happen as you start seeing what's going to happen in Europe with the Five-Star Movement in Italy, with Le Pen's party in France, with the Netherlands party of Geert Wilders, with the AfD party. It's a rejection of this globalization, and people like Trump and Obama and the Clintons and the Hollands and the Renzis and the Merkels, all the others shoving it down our throats.
Exactly.
So what we're going to look at, start looking for some real turmoil to start happening beyond the war talk. And again, Trump is they're going to start a war with Iran, Israel. Mark my words.
Yeah, I know.
And the United States is going to go into it. But in the meantime, the whole globalization society is collapsing in front of us, which brings us back to gold. The dollar is getting stronger. The stronger the dollar gets, the weaker gold will go. However, and I don't give financial advice, people should really be concerned about what's going on throughout Europe with the anti-globalization, anti-elite movement taking real form and real presence.
Yeah, they did a recent poll. I think 10 European countries are, you know, it's up close to 60% in those 10 European countries saying no to immigration. But there's a disconnect between the actual public opinion and what the media is still churning out. It's still churning out the same far left, pro-immigration, all the stuff, as you said, you know, bring them into your house and feed them and school them and clothe them and everything else. And as you say, don't tell us what to do. But this is what's going on in Europe at the minute, and, you know, in the US as well, of course.
Well, yeah. It's what's going on. But again, we're going to start seeing the changes happening. And the opportunities, by the way, you know, it's a whole new world. And one of the things we write about is play the Trump card. It's not whether you like him or dislike him, it's what it is. He upset the entire system. He beat both political parties. He beat the mainstream media. That's why they're coming out with this fake news stuff. He beat Silicon Valley. They supported Clinton. He beat Hollywood. They supported Clinton. The message, Paul, is that people are tired of what is, and you could create the new. So we know about the political situation, the geopolitical and geoeconomic situation. Now we tell our clients and our subscribers, take advantage of what you see. People want something new. If you're in the UK, start stamping every product you have made with pride in the UK. And then start calling out all those that bring in foreign products. You know, they had a thing called the chicken tax here in the United States back in the 1960s. What happened was that under the American poultry industry was flooding Europe with cheap poultry. So Germany started putting a tax on it coming in. In response, LBJ, the president at the time, Lyndon Baines Johnson, put on the poultry tax. So if you were bringing Volkswagens in, which were very big back in the 60s, they put a tax on them. That tax stayed until Bill Clinton took it off with NAFTA. So what I'm saying is, you can have tariffs, you can have products that are made in your country, and it will bring a higher level of employment. And that's the positive about Trump. There's the negatives, the positives, and the what is. So start stamping your product with names coming from your country, and then go after the top person that's really raping your country for their profits. So an example, in the United States, it would be if I made athletic footwear. I go up to Oregon, where Nike is located, and I start running ads. Phil Knight is a sellout, you know, the owner of Nike. By using slave labor people and paying them slave labor wages to bring in these products and mark them up so he could become a billionaire. Buy my product. It's made by Americans and made with pride.
Well, exactly. Joe, I think we're going to go to break. Do you have 10 minutes on the other side, or you got to shoot?
No, I have 10 minutes I could do.
All right, okay. Because I just wanted to break down, because, you know, this Israel-Iran thing, obviously this is going to involve a much bigger geopolitical situation. And I don't mean to be dramatic about it. And I wish every time you were on the show, we didn't have some good reason to think that we could be looking at the next proper world war out of happening, because this is lining up when you've got players like Russia allied with Iran, and you've got Syria allied with them, and then you've got, I mean, what's going on? I mean, do you think that the US is, anyway, we'll get back to you on the other side, Gerald.
Okay.
Because I think we're just going to go to break. But
okay.
Okay.
No, as I said, we see Israel starting a war with Iran. They'll blame Iran for starting it, and the Americans are going to get involved in it. That's what we see shaping up, going by how Trump is playing this Trump card about Iran being the world's top sponsor of terrorism.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's not going to be. You're not going to be able to just contain that between Israel and Iran, are you?
No, and that's and then you mentioned this guy Mattis, the defense secretary, and here's an adult. He calls himself Mad Dog.
Yeah. What
adult would use a word like that?
Well, again, it's like the World Wrestling Federation. You know, it's just this whole it's childish, and Trump saying, you know, Iran, they're not behaving. I mean,
I know.
I don't know. I mean, it's the same old crap, but it's it's very, very precarious, and I'm just shocked that less than 2 weeks into his presidency that they're putting Iran on notice, because this is going to be a very, very big mess if this. Do you think Trump's been manipulated, or do you think?
No, I know people on the inside, and what you see is what you get. This guy suffers from extreme levels of narcissism and attention deficit disorder. Anybody, you listen to his language, he'll repeat the same word, beautiful, 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 3 times. I mean it, I mean it, I mean it. This is not a bright guy.
No.
This is a guy, like we used to say in the Bronx, this is a guy born on third base and thought he hit a home run. His old man died and left him what? Between 4 kids, $300 million.
Yeah.
You know, so take it easy, Jack. Don't want to hear it. And again, I did a whole piece one time about Trump having to go to military school. That was the greatest threat. We're the same age, me and Trump. And the greatest threat that our parents would give us when we were out of line, your little SOB had enough of your crap, you're going to military. Yeah. Trump was so out of line, so narcissistic, he actually went to military school. Now you're a teenage guy, right? What do you want? You want cars and girls. Unless, of course, you're into something else. And here you are in a little, I know where it is, Cornwall, New York. We're in Kingston. This is about 30 miles south of us in the middle of nowhere. Trump went to this military school. Here I am growing up, eating Italian food. He's in military school.
Okay, we're going to break, Gerald. Hi, and welcome back. You're live here with me, Paul Stevenson, on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com this Friday, the 17th of February. And I'm live with Gerald Celente for another 10 minutes. Gerald, you back with me?
I'm with you.
All right. The other thing that has not been talked a lot about in Western mainstream media is the still heavy presence along the Russian border of NATO troops. In fact, I think there's about 4,000 heavily armed U.S. troops in Poland doing drills. Germany, Canada, Great Britain, and the 3 Baltic states have added 1,000 troops in each case. Again, the old boss or the new boss is starting to look very like the new boss when it comes to foreign policy.
Yeah, what you just said, by the way, and staying with the first part of it, with the NATO troops on the Russian border. Here is the deal. If anybody goes to our website, trendsresearch.com, go to conferences, and you'll see a video. You could purchase it. It's by, when we launched OccupyPeace.us, we had Dr. Paul Craig Roberts here. For those of you who don't know who he was the Assistant Treasury Secretary under Ronald Reagan. He had the power and did call in the director of the CIA and question him under oath. Reagan never wanted to win the Cold War. He wanted to end it. These are the words from Dr. Paul Craig Roberts, a guy that was there. The deal was this. The Soviet Union was going to collapse. Gorbachev had agreed to give back Eastern Germany to Germany. And in return, NATO would not expand any further than it was. So all these little pieces of crap, all these little low-life SOBs that keep putting out the Let's Hate Russia campaign theme, all the little prostitutes on the Cartoon News Network, on MSNBC, more of the same BS. All of them. They never speak about this. So what happens is, under Slick Willie Slimer Clinton, the low-life little SOB that sold out this country with rotten trade deals so they could become multi-millionaires, they call it campaign contributions and donations to their foundation when adults call it bribes and payoffs. He started expanding NATO's border, bringing in one country after another. And it continued under Bush, and it continued under that arrogant guy, Obama. Folks? Yeah, folk you.
Fuck you.
Yeah, that's an LK, so don't get excited out there. All you people that like proper language. And I love these people. Don't email me and tell me not to get angry. I get angry when people try to screw with me. I'm a close combat practitioner. I don't give BS and I don't take it. I'm very kind and gentle to everyone. If you push me, I'll punch you. And they're pushing me. So going back to NATO and what you were saying about the troops being in Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, this is in violation of the agreement that was made between Reagan and Gorbachev, sealed by George Bush Sr. But just like the American clowns, the greatest terrorists, not Iran, the greatest terrorists in the world, for destroying Iraq, destroying Syria, destroying Afghanistan.
Right, as far back, well, you can go back further, but I mean, you look at, the CIA were setting up training camps up in, in Pakistan in 1982 and sort of putting ads in newspapers to join the jihad. I mean,
that was under Jimmy Carter back in 1979. All those little liberals forgot that one. They used to call it the Mujahideen. They changed the name to Al-Qaeda.
Yeah.
Brought to you by the greatest terrorist organization in the world, the United States, and Obama funding that same Al-Qaeda group to overthrow Gaddafi, and the same Al-Qaeda group to overthrow Assad, and the same Al-Qaeda group that's destroying the world in the Middle East. Brought to you by the world's greatest terrorist organization, the one that Dwight D. Eisenhower, 5-star general, supreme commander of the Allied forces in World War II, and 2-term Republican president, warned the people as he left office in 1961 that the military-industrial complex was robbing the nation of the genius of the scientists, sweat of the laborers, and the future of the children.
Yeah. And that's not even mentioning just the actual economic cost in taxes, and it's just a mess. Is there any hope for the end of this military-industrial complex, Gerald? I mean, it just seems to keep rolling and rolling and rolling. I mean, I just think they're going to do whatever they want, aren't they?
Again, I talked briefly about what's going on in France, what happened in the UK with Brexit, what happened with the 5-star movement in Italy when they overthrew that little guy, Fonzie.
Yeah.
I always get him mixed up.
Renzi,
yeah. The AfD movement in Germany, the Geert Wilders party in the Netherlands. Again, agree or disagree with them, not the issue. It shows you the power of the people.
Yeah.
And if the power of the people were to unite between the two elements of coldness and passion and bring in a middle ground of peace and morality, that change could happen. There's no one there. Everybody wants to think that there's this, secret society that's pulling strings. Yeah. What you see is what it is. It's an old man behind the curtain with a little dog.
Yeah.
It's the Wizard of Oz, and you're seeing it in the United States with an old guy with bleach blonde comb over.
Yeah.
That's what it is. But yes, the people could change it if they unite in a common cause, and the common cause that I've launched is occupypeace.us.
Well, this is it. There should be, all these liberals you were talking about, they're out virtue signaling. Where is everybody marching against the war? No, thank you. No war with Iran, and the slogans, an end to war. I mean, it's just not there, is it?
Again, it's not there, but it can happen. That's what we're saying. Play the Trump card. If a clown like him could do it, could you do it? Yeah. Or as I say, if Obama can, Trump can, Clinton can, and Bush can, you can, unless you think their mother's better than yours.
Well, exactly. Well, we're trying, we're trying shows like this, and, we break it down.
I know.
And the work you do. I mean, I spent an hour on on Monday's show, I think it was, breaking down, just in basic detail about the US and CIA's history and Israel's history of supporting terrorists, and in the face of this nonsense about Iran being the greatest sponsor of state terror and all the rest of it. It's not hard to find the info if you don't have to scratch too far beneath the surface. I just sense that while more people are aware of it, there's still a frustration because public opinion is not the same as what the mainstream media is churning out.
No, the mainstream media is a loser. They lost the election. They all called it wrong. And by the way, it's in print. We are the only magazine that we know of in the world that called Donald Trump a winner back in May of 2016.
Yeah, because you were calling that right from the very first interview you did with me. I think that was around April, May time, yeah.
So again, I'm no fan of his, but we call it what it is rather than what we like. So what we're telling people is that you have the power, but we have to unite in a common cause. After you win the one common cause, then you move on to the next one. After you win that one, you go on to the next one. But you cannot be diluted with all these different causes, whether you're going to talk about transgenders, whether about on and on. It's not going to, you're not going to win. No. You need one issue. You need a Brexit issue. That's the example.
Yeah. Just, do you want to just, you've got on a much more positive note, I saw you've got a conference coming up in Galway, which looks absolutely awesome. I don't know where I'll be able to go for the full week, but maybe I can arrange to see you there since you'll be over so close, Gerald, you know?
Oh, I'd love to see you. You're kidding? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll maybe get down for a couple of days, and maybe we could do an interview at some point for half an hour live or something from Galway.
Oh, that'd be a lot of fun. That'd be terrific.
Yeah, we'll do that. Do you want to just tell people about that? Because that looks like a brilliant, anybody in business or interested in trends, that looks like, it's the place to be in June, isn't it, in Galway?
Yes, it is. And again, if you want to know more about history before it happens, this is going to be the place to be. And again, it's much more, it's a retreat. And we're going to be talking about the trends shaping the future, how you can profit from them, find your future in trends. So it's a week-long conference in Galway, as you mentioned, set on the magnificent coastline along Galway Bay.
Beautiful hotel.
Yep, between June 10th and 16th. And, it'll be a wonderful time. Of course, it'll be more than just that as well. There'll be, trips, side trips, and what have you. And if anybody wants to learn more about it, just go to our website, trendsresearch.com, and go to the conferences section. It just says conference news. And go on there and you can see it. And also you could go to trendsconferences.com and you can see the conferences that we put on. So we'd love to meet you as well, Paul. That'd be a lot of fun, and we could possibly do a broadcast from there. Yeah,
that would be brilliant. As I say, when you're going to be over this way and so close, it'd be great to take advantage of that and see you and have a pint or something, and we can do a podcast or something. That would be great, Gerald.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Tell you a quick story. One of my books is called "What Zizi, Z-I-Z-I, Gave Honey Boy."
Yeah.
And Zizi is the Neapolitan dialect for auntie. Anyway, in that, which is my favorite book of everything I've ever written in my life, and I've written a lot. That's my favorite. And if anyone wants to get that, you could go to our website, trendsresearch.com. It's about growing up as an Italian-American in the Bronx and Yonkers and what life used to be in America years ago. Anyway, we moved from the Bronx up to Yonkers, but we moved in a pretty the richer area. My father made, so rest in peace, started making some money. So we moved out of our little house, little apartment in the Bronx to Yonkers. And I went to an all-Irish Catholic school.
Right.
So here's an Italian kid in an Irish Catholic school. So I fell in love with, of course, Teresa McKelvey. And there's a photo in the book, Zizi and Honey Boy, of our first communion, and we're both in these white little uniforms. And she's a whole head taller than me, and we're holding hands, and you can see we were deeply in love. We used to kiss in religious instructions. Now they'd have me whacked out on drugs if they ever caught me doing that. But anyway, in the Catholic Church, they say that, the reason you get your first communion is that they say that you reach the age of reason at 7 years old. Yeah. And I did. I fell in love with the Irish girls. So that was, I reached the age of reason. The proof is there in my book.
Yeah, well, nice one. All right, Gerald. And, I can echo that. You were saying about people, you being angry and this, that, and the other. There'd be something wrong if you weren't angry at what's going on. And I've met you, and you're an extremely gracious guy, and you've been great for coming on my show, and I appreciate it big time. And I look forward to seeing you in Ireland in the summer, Gerald.
That'd be fun. Thank you so much. And thank you for all that you're doing to awaken the people, enlighten the people, and to bring morality back in at a time when most people don't even know the word exists.
Indeed. All right, Gerald. Take care. Thanks again.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.